on Buffalo. So think about all the money for the pool. Those are the percentages just on the Bills. But they have a tricky start to the season. Open up against the defending champs. In fact, 4 of their first 6 games on the road, and that includes the Rams and then a rematch with the Chiefs, who've eliminated them each of the last 2 postseasons. And the first 7 games against teams that won at least 8 games until that bye. So a lot, and then Packers after the bye. So a lot of heavy lifting early, and then the second half of the season, much more manageable competition when you have the Lions, the Jets, the Dolphins, even the Patriots twice, to be fair, given what, Buffalo's roster. Yep. So look, the Bills have obviously been right there on the cusp. Last year, definitely on the cusp with that memorable game with the Chiefs in the playoffs. You have to be thinking that this is the year they can want to get over the hump if it's all trending in the right direction. The question is, they're a favorite. Do they get over the hump?
Best bet for me when attacking the Bills isn't to look at any of that because the AFC is absolutely loaded. I don't think the pricing offers a lot of value in terms of getting over the hump. I will bet him to win the AFC East at a price of minus 180. That essentially applies a 64% chance. I think it's closer to 75%. 2 of the biggest games on the schedule, you mentioned it, the Kansas City game in Week 6. The Chiefs are off a Monday night game that week, so it's a short week of prep for them. And then they've got Green Bay in Week 7. They're going to be coming off a bye. It's going to be Green Bay's 3rd game in 4 weeks on the road. 3rd game in 4 weeks, one of which is going to be the London game for them. Ultimately, this is a team last year that went 11-6 with a plus 194 point differential. They should have been a 13-win team. And then throw this on top. 5 games they played, 1-score games. They lost all 5 of them. History shows us that's going to regress to the mean. The Bills could be even better than what we saw last year.
Yeah, Joe, I like your AFC East division winner. Even though I don't like laying that juice, I'm comfortable with this particular roster because I do think it is the best and deepest in the NFL, and I do think they have the best quarterback in the NFL. He has taken that mantle from Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, even without Super Bowl rings. Bottom line, this is a 13-win team. You pointed to that point differential from a season ago. I think they can match or exceed that in this year. And you look at weeks 10 through 18, boy, they could win 7, 8, 9 of those games on that right side of the schedule once they really start get things going. So I look at this as a 13-win team. I'd absolutely hammer over 11.5, and I do think there is not a team really that can challenge them in that AFC East, Doug.
I like the minus $1.80 as well. I mean, I think the most important thing is to remember kind of in sports, what have we seen? Usually you have to suffer the defeats before you get over the hump. I mean, over the NBA, remember, Jordan lost all those games before he finally got over the hump. Pistons did that to the Celtics, got over the hump, and then so forth. The Chiefs recently lost to the Patriots in the AFC Championship game, then went on to win the Super Bowl. I think the Chiefs have kind of squandered their opportunities. They were rattled last year. They did go beat Kansas City a year ago, and then they had FBI had him with the easiest remaining schedule, and then they squandered those opportunities like fumbling on the goal line on Monday night against Tennessee. I think they've paid their dues is my point. I'm with you on all of it. I think they have that composure now, and they should be able to get over the hump, especially with teams like the Chiefs, in my opinion, taking a step back. Now, they were dealing with a key injury at the end of last year and this offseason. Tre'Davious White coming off an ACL tear. Let's bring in Stefania Bell. So, Stefania, if all things progress well for White, when should Bills Mafia expect him back?
Well, what we've heard in the offseason is that he's been very competitive with his rehab and pushing to get back as fast as he can. But they have emphasized that they will not put a timestamp on it. And usually what we see is how these guys emerge in training camp. He definitely has a shot to be ready week 1. Right now, he is on track for that. But again, until you're doing football activity, when you're coming off something major like an ACL, you cannot bank on it.
Yeah, and I always joke, and I say this tongue-in-cheek, like Adrian Peterson ruined it for everyone else. Athletes across every sport, comes back, has a monster year, and we all kind of get desensitized to the severity of the injury, that there are human beings. You just don't know how you're going to respond until you actually try to do it. Let's bring in Anita Marks here. Anita, I know you were big on the Bills the last couple seasons. Obviously, they've been a success. What do you make of them this year?
Yeah, and just to kind of piggyback on what Stefania said, I understand taking the time with Tre'Davious White, but this is a really good secondary with Micah Hyde, and they went out and they drafted the corner Elam from University of Florida. On top of that, guys, they add Von Miller to that defense. Are you kidding me? Offensively, we know what Josh Allen can do. I've heard a few people trying to fade him offensively because Brian Daboll is now here in New York with the Giants. But it's not like this is a new offensive system for Josh Allen. Ken Dorsey was his quarterback coach. They're not reinventing the wheel. They add Jamison Crowder at the slot position, wide receiver slot position, which I think is going to enhance that offense. They add more depth in the backfield by drafting a running back in the draft as well. So I just think this is a Buffalo team. They check all the boxes. Wait, I buried the lead here. They drafted a punter who they call the punt god out of San Diego State because he averages 80 yards a punt. His longest punt was 86 yards. Are you kidding me? You add that special team element to that defense. Man, Bills, best team in the NFL, guys.
All right, but they are 1-point dogs in the opener, albeit on the road against the defending champs. But that's a good point about the coaching change. It's not exactly they're going to convert to a 3 yards and a cloud of dust power eye offense.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.